Facebook, I'm gonna have to make sure I am looking at the camera and not looking at this computer.
What's up? What's up?
The camera, not the computer.
Welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Couples Lounge. This is your boy, country boy, Capital Man Remon, and I got my sexy chocolate with me. And we're back. We're back. We're back. Live where we talk about love, life, the culture, marriage, relationships. We do this every Saturday. So if you have not hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button, man.
Well, I guess I'll introduce myself. I am his wife. I am Mrs. Tug. Did you introduce me? You bring me in?
I did.
All right. So I am so excited for this show. The show topic is She Can't Admit It. So this is what I'm going to need from y'all on today. Or anytime. This is a revelation that I had today, this morning, is when you listen to the Couples Lounge show, you're going to be getting information. You're going to have your own awarenesses. Things are going to be coming to a light. We want to ask you to not use the things that you hear, learn, the things that are revealed, etc., as a weapon. It is for you to use to build up the kingdom, to build up yourself, and to build up your spouse. And you got to figure out how God is calling you to do that. But for every show, even if this is your first time tuning in and you go back and you hear shows where we dropping knowledge, sharing our experiences, that you take it for elevation and not condemnation. Okay? All right. So the show. Can she admit when she is wrong? It's basically what we say. Can she admit when she makes a mistake? And so before we get into that, we hope that you have been following us on our social media pages, because we made an announcement about the marriage retreat, and we do have a few more rooms available. If you did not, we're going to force you to Facebook and Instagram and TikTok to discover what the announcement was. So you ready to get it cracking?
I'm ready.
So how did this come to be? Or what you bring us into this show?
One of the main things I've heard a lot of brothers say is how it's hard for women to admit that they're wrong.
Okay.
And it's something a lot of men have complained about. Women just have a hard time admitting that they're wrong. Matter of fact, I think I made a TikTok post about it before. And I hear it a lot, and I just wanted to speak on it.
Okay. And so a lot of times what I do to prepare for shows, I will talk to other people, get their perspective, get their ideas.
This is horrible. Jeez, what in the world? Whoa.
You put on sugar in it?
No, put up, but it's I don't know what he got a whole. Yeah, I'm not drinking that. I'm not. Jesus, that's good. Wow, that was bad. That was really, really bad. I'm sorry.
He had a moment right there, y'all. Okay, so and if y'all can hear us, make sure you talk back. And if you got an amen in your spirit, drop it. If the sound ain't right, drop it. Let us know. All right. So I'm gonna start off with this point. Let me tell y'all something. I just love how God works. Just because for this show to even manifest when it did, how it did, how God has been taking me on my own journey of transparency, being honest. And transparency is I'm being transparent. You don't even know that I did something, and I'm coming to you to confess it. So I am in gratitude for this show. So ladies, I'm gonna talk to you today, and in talking to you, I believe that there's going to be some confession on my part, and I'm willing to go there because that's just the space that I am in my life right now. So this is the first thing to the two women who, as he's saying, husbands are struggling or saying that we struggle with admitting when we wrong. And I can say that I have been her. I have been her. So this show gonna kind of be personal. I'm praying that it's gonna be a part of my continued walk.
Okay.
So this is the first point I want to make to the women that struggle with admitting your mistakes, our mistakes. To be mistaken is not so terrible a thing. It will not deprive you of love and acceptance. What deprives you of love is your insistence on being right when you are not.
Mm.
That prevents corrections from being made. That came from Paul Ferrini, the book Love Without Conditions. So you made a sound. Talk to me.
No, it may, you will lose, and not only that, you lose respect and credibility when you can't admit that you're wrong, or when you have a hard time admitting you're wrong. And it'll make a person not want to admit when they're wrong, and want to shut down communication. Because sometimes it's clear, it can be clear that you're dead wrong right now. And you keep going on and on. You know what? I don't want to talk. I'm done.
So you saying the husband will be like, I'm done. I don't want to talk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I will really want to shut down and not want to communicate. I'm like, why am I trying to communicate when you simply can't admit that you're wrong? And two, why would I even go there and be vulnerable and okay, yeah, you know what, my bad.
Okay.
When you can't.
Okay. So let's talk about the two words that I underlined, and that is love and acceptance.
Okay.
The reality of it is, as deeper than what looks like on surface. Is it this space? Are we sitting in this space that we figure that if I am honest about my mistake, that there's going to be love removed from me? Will he not accept me for how I think he sees me? And that is causing me, because what I have found in my own space is that those times where when I sit with it and I'm like, dang, you were wrong right there. That was a mistake. Back then, it was even the challenge to, I ain't gonna say it was a challenge, and I didn't come back and say I was wrong, because of now what's on the other side of me admitting that. Am I gonna be chastised? Will he see me differently than what I believe he sees me? And all the other stuff that's running to my head. So my thing is like, well, I'll correct it next time. I just won't say nothing to him. But I ain't thinking what that is doing to him internally, and still how he looking at me. Like, it's better to be honest and him look at me as, yeah, you made a mistake, whoop de whoop. Yeah, he can look at the mistake, but there's a level of love on the other side of that. Versus he's still gonna be looking at me one way or the other. Either he gonna be looking at me, she can't even admit she wrong, and he holding that energy, or she admitted she wrong. Dang, I didn't expect that from her.
Right.
But he can see me in a light with my truth versus darkness when I ain't being truthful.
Right. And not only that, your words will hold a lot more weight when you're honest. When you can be honest about your shortcomings and things that you've done wrong or possibly said that was wrong. Now, when you come to me with something, I can believe it. Because you're honest, like, hey, if she can admit this, why would I believe she's lying about this?
Yeah.
But when you can't even admit that you're wrong, now it's hard for me to, or hard for anyone to take you at your word. And I think a lot of women, including you, especially at the time, when I don't say especially, but fear of judgment. just fear, and you really alluded to it, just fear of being judged for your mistakes and maybe taken off a pedestal or whatnot. But the older you get, the more mature you get, and you realize your woman, your wife, your girl, she's human too. Yeah, she might have made, and what may have been a fatal flaw in your teens and 20s, 30s and 40s. Okay. Yeah, you was wrong. But I don't view it as a fatal flaw anymore because I'm more wiser and mature. And I think sometimes you women tend to not give men the credit. And two, when I mean give us credit in the regards of not judging you or condemning you because you did make this mistake. Where in reality, I can respect you more if you can. Yeah, I was wrong. I did do that, babe, and I was wrong. This is what I was thinking. This is why I did it. This is why I said it. It may hurt and it may sting, whatever it is, depending on what it is. But when we look back and go back, I would appreciate that honesty. I really can. Anybody can. When I say I mean anyone can. Period. Just hit us with the truth. Be gentle, but hit us with the truth. Okay.
But can you check the sound real quick? I just want to make sure that it is right. Y'all don't mind us checking the sound real quick. Okay, we're good. All right. So as he was speaking, I want to say this. Ladies, for this show, don't worry about him. What I mean by that is when I'm talking about, or we talking about us admitting things where he don't admit it, where he don't, this ain't the show for that. And why I'm saying this ain't the show for that, because this show is about you getting free. This show is about you getting in alignment with God. This show is about your healing. So we ain't focused on nobody outside of us admitting when we make a mistake. And I'm being conscious about saying mistake, because sometimes when you put the word wrong on it, it brings up that stuff from childhood, and it can cause a blockage. Because a mistake, because sometimes wrong can be subjective, to where I don't feel like I'm wrong. You feel like I'm wrong, but I don't feel, and then you getting in an argument about your definition of what's wrong. Let's just say a mistake, which is a sin, mistake. We're going to use the word mistake. Again, this show is not about what your husband, what your boyfriend, what your daddy, what they do. This is about us elevating. So I want to support you in understanding, because you may not realize why. Why is it so difficult for us to admit when we're wrong? So these are some of the things. We are living in core beliefs we are not aware of. And I'm saying we because I was there too, unaware of a core belief that I had been living my life from. So here are some of the core beliefs. Pick the one for you. I'm not good enough. Or I'm just not enough. Stupid, dumb.
Oh, wow.
I'm not worthy or worthless. I'm not important. Nobody cares. And those core beliefs make themselves, they started showing up when we were children, how we were responded to. And when you think like some of these, and I'm going to give a summary of it, it makes you want to defend yourself all the time. It makes you want to feel like you want to make sure you feel special. You want to upstage other people, or it's I'm too much, and you're living from a core belief, which causes I can't admit that, because then it makes it real that I'm not good enough. Whatever's on the other side of that, I think is gonna come on the other side of that. But if I tell him that, dang, or to admit that I did that, oh my God, I'm so stupid, I'm so dumb. And nobody wants to feel the consequence of admitting that. So give yourself some grace in understanding, oh, one of these reasons is why you can't admit when you're wrong. And if you want to go deeper, then you reach out and I'll be your life coach. www.wewillwin.as.me. Because it is there. Because it is there. And I'll be honest with y'all, my core belief I end up discovering was not enough. And I'm like, not enough. I'm not. Y'all, in my journey, sometimes I book back, like, nah, whatever, like, nah. But I know how God works, so I surrender. I end up surrendering, but on the onset of it, I'd be like, that ain't me. But then once I went back and I discovered where that belief became manifest, it was like, all right, that's it. Right. Now I gotta be willing to do the work. It's a threat to our identity when you've been raised as girls act like this. Right. Oh, you a good girl. Definitely. If you were with siblings and you were the good child, right. Oh right. My goodness. If you were the good child, it's sure finna be hard for me to admit when I've been told all my life. Or not even told, but insinuated, you don't give us no trouble. Right. You the good one. Right. You did everything you was supposed to do in school. You was smart. You was this, that, and the other.
Or was just simply raised to be the good girl. Taught to be the good girl. So when you make a mistake or you do, you feel ashamed. Yeah. And not only that, I got to be honest. I think men, we do this. I've done this. Your mistakes can be magnified. Like your mistakes can be, oh my God, you did what? You did.
You the good girl? Or when you were like good?
Yes. As a woman, a man, we can dish, but we can't take a lot of the times. Not all the time, not every brother. But a lot of times, so therefore, we magnify your mistakes. We could do the exact same thing you did, but when you did it, it was 100 times worse. And we could be extremely judgmental if we're not careful. If a brother is not careful, and again, I've been this way, could be extremely judgmental of you for your mistakes. Also, you could possibly hurt us be critical of other women and speak down on other women and belittle and just flat out degrade women who've done X, Y, Z. When in reality, you have done the same thing. We may not know about it. So therefore, you've heard me say women who do it A, B, C is horrible. She a hoe, she this, she that. And you're thinking, damn, I've done it. How can I tell him or admit that I've done ABC when I heard him speak to these about these women that way? I can't admit that, and you will never admit that.
And I would say even it don't even have to be about another woman. If I see how you judge other people.
No, but I'm speaking about women because you're a woman.
No. So that's what I'm saying about. But I can be seeing how, when somebody does whatever, I see your response to it. And so I just know how you respond, not necessarily to, it's not even about the thing. I see your response. And I don't want to, there's a fear that comes up because I may get the same response, the same judgment, which again is a threat to my identity of who and how I see myself. And like you said, it's shame. To be shamed. That's another thing for women, not wanting to feel like that or to even think I failed. Like nobody wants to think you failed. And that's what happens when you make a mistake. But if you get in a space of it's all right with failing, because if I fail and I choose to learn, then there's growth. Right. So and that's something I always ask my clients, like, how are you defining failure? Right. Because if you defining it with all these negative attachments to it, of course you finna try to be perfect. Right. Of course you don't want to sit in that space. But if you define it as I get an opportunity right here to see what God is trying to reveal to me, that's a totally different experience.
Right.
So these are just some of the reasons. And then we're finna get on the other side of, because we got to break this, women, because it's not beneficial to us. It's not beneficial to our marriage, and it's not beneficial to what God is trying to do in your life. It's not beneficial to your kids, because sometimes you got to be able to admit you're wrong to your kids.
Right.
So they don't have to live in this trying to be perfect type lifestyle. Right. And women, another reason that I believe it is challenging for us to admit our mistakes is because we thrive on love. I thrive on your love. I want your love.
Okay.
And in my mind, if I admit I'm wrong, will you take your love away from me? Will I look like I'm stained or wrinkled in your eyes? Right. And I don't want to be.
Right.
And it took me back to God saying, love your wife so that she don't feel stained or wrinkled.
Right. That's a good one.
And so if I admit that, will he take his love from me?
Right.
But if, I'm going to say this, if your husband, and give your husband grace, because he's learning how to do life too. He's learning how to evolve too. But I believe that if your husband has a relationship with himself, and when I say himself, sometimes I'm interchangeably saying with God, and with God, he can take your mistake and know how to love it. He can take your mistake and not use it as a weapon and a bullet against you. And you got to know your husband. And maybe you don't feel safe being honest with your husband, but it really ain't. I'm telling you, it's really not about that on today. Yeah, you want to feel safe. Yeah, you want to be all of that. But like we was reading earlier, you're not getting love. You think love is gonna be taken away from you if you be honest. He's definitely could take the love away from you in your dishonesty. Like what he was saying earlier, it's gonna make him pull back. He don't want to be honest. He this, that, and the other. It's like a boomerang effect when we don't stand in our truth.
Right. And the trust is, I'm not gonna say gone, but damn near gone. Mm-hmm. When you can't admit fault or wrong. I would say this as well, and I think I've said this before. Men, we have to give women a safe place to be wrong, a safe place to be vulnerable, to admit this as well. Mm-hmm. Because if we beat you over the head with it months and months and years after the fact, mm-hmm. you'll never do it again. Mm-hmm. You'll never do it again. So men were at times, some men can be just as responsible for the behavior of you're not admitting you're wrong and not even realize it. Like, bro, do you realize how you beat her over the head because she didn't cook dinner or she didn't fix your plate or whatever? Mm-hmm. Whatever, it could be anything. But we're constantly telling you or reminding you of it. Why would you admit it again? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't think a lot of men realize how key and how important it is. I can't stress this enough, to give her a safe place to be vulnerable to do.
For the man that is clueless about what that looks like, what does it look like to give us? What does a safe place look like? If you could explain it.
And to give them a safe place, be understanding, be understandable of why or how she could have made that mistake. Don't be judgmental. No name calling, no verbal attacks when she do admit that she's wrong. 3, do not keep reliving that mistake. What I mean by reliving, 6 months from now, she shouldn't be hearing about it. 2 months from now, 3 days, Like maybe a day, if you want to go back and talk about it again. But that's it. Allow it to end, come to a resolution in a conversation that y'all may have to where you're not constantly hitting her over the head. Because if you keep hearing about it, you're going to feel a certain way. Mm-hmm. Now you don't want to go there again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I want to add to all of that was like amazing. So I hope that you're taking notes on today. We forgot to tell you to go grab your boo. If he or she is not sitting and watching this show with you, or call them if y'all live together and say, baby, tune in to the Couples Lounge. And for y'all that are just joining, you are tuned in to the Couples Lounge show. I'm your girl, Candace. I'm Miss Tuck. And this is my handsome, sexy husband, Kappa countryman, Remon. Another safe place is soft with your response. In your like, she tell you something and your response is, okay, thank you for sharing that with me. So your words are not harsh. And so yeah. So I just wanted to add the response. And sometimes it's not even calling us to, I'm not asking us to be perfect, but the more that we are aware of our actions, the better it is. So internally, you probably thinking, oh my God, what you did, what? I can't believe that. So on the onset, it might come out as like, what? You did what? Like, but you gotta take a breath. Okay, let me get my baby. Let me make this a safe space for her so she can continue, so she don't shut down. And if you in tune, in touch with her, you'll be able to see if she's shutting down, like, uh-oh, she leaving me. And then at that point, you might have to grab her hand. Okay, baby, I apologize for how I just reacted. And even acknowledging that's transparency. That's a confession. Again, you will give each other the space to continue to just be honest, because we're learning. So I just wanted to share with y'all in that first half why it is challenging, ladies, for you to admit you are wrong. That is for your awareness. And you notice I did not say nothing about him not being able to admit. That ain't got nothing to do with why you won't admit. You can keep telling yourself that if you want to. It's something under that. That's your ego. For you to be like, well, he don't admit it. He don't tell the truth. Once you get into all of that, that's ego. Like, because your healing and your freedom can't be attached to his imprisonment if that's what he chooses to do. So I hope you peep that us not being willing to be transparent is on us. So let's talk about the benefits. Okay. And so I want to say y'all this. I had a transparent moment. That's why I was so grateful and was able to be grateful to this conversation. And when my husband brought it up to me, I wasn't even in a place. It was almost like I heard spirit say, be quiet. Just listen. Okay. And so I did not respond when he came to me with why this show ended up developing. I was just sitting and listening like, okay. And then last night / this morning, as I'm in preparation mode and see what I was called to do at work, I was called to be transparent with somebody at work because I judged him. And I did not want to. I'm like, no, I'm going to go be transparent to my husband about it. So I went and told my husband. I judged and I spoke it and confessed it to him. And it was like, God was like, but that ain't who you judged. You trying to skirt around what I am telling you to do. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So this week, actually on Monday, I'm not going to say had, I chose to do it. Because when I say I chose, I took the power. When you say had, it's like you being forced. I wasn't forced because I could have made choice not to. So I'm going to own my power. And I chose to go and to confess to this man, I judged you when you told me boom, 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 boom. And so this is, ladies, why I'm telling you, you got to be all right with living in that space. So let's turn this boat around, because that boat of not wanting to admit to your husband, your boyfriend, or whoever your mistake, that's leading you down to this land of darkness where bitterness, chaos, confusion, like he said, the lack of trust is there. Because if you won't admit this, how can I believe anything that you tell me? How can I even admit or receive what you're telling me, even when it comes to him?
Right.
You want to tell me this, that, and the other, but you can't even admit your mistakes. And I think that was probably one of the things. Was that a thing for you?
What's that?
When I'm coming to you to try to say, babe, I see this in you, or grow her.
Mm-hmm.
Was that a hindrance for you to receive that? Yes. When I can't?
I didn't want to hear it. Mm-hmm. I honestly didn't want to hear it. And it did something to me internally when you would come to me like that. And I'm like I heard you, mm-hmm. but I'm like, receive it. Who are you to tell me any of this? Mm-hmm. Because anything I would have said, I'm not going to say anything. There are times where I could have came to you that way, and it will be an excuse or reason a lot of the times, mm-hmm. why. Mm-hmm. And not, okay, yeah, you're right, okay. And I've heard other men say the exact same, and I mean the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. Their wives could come to them about whatever it is that they're doing wrong, and we're supposed to, okay, yeah, you're right. Okay, you're right, baby, my bad. Mm-hmm. But if they came to their wives, it's a reason or excuse and no acceptance. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's an excuse for why, mm-hmm. you did, or a reason for why you did, mm-hmm. and not, hey, baby, you're right, I did, my bad. Mm-hmm. And when you're doing that, how am I receiving this from you? Why am I trying to receive this from you? Yeah. And so it hurt, as he was speaking, it hurts our Ezra. When I say our Ezra, it hurts our position and our call to be a helpmate. Because I'm called to see some stuff about him. I'm called to support him. I'm called to help him, to elevate to what God is calling him to do. And then what God is calling him to do is some things that he has to be willing to change. And there's the things that I'm going to have to be able to make him aware of. But if he won't receive my support, my help, if I'm walking in perfection. So that's what I mean. It hurts your position as wife. It hurts your position if you're not married, your position in that person's life. When you can do no wrong, but you sure can see all the wrong or mistakes of everybody else. Mm. So y'all ready to be free? Put free in the comments if you are ready to get free. So I got some scriptures. I'm gonna always come with, because if we're trying to live in the kingdom, which is the government of God, we got to be willing to go by the Constitution, which is the word. Proverbs 28:13. Whoever conceals their sins, mistakes, does not prosper, but the one who confesses and renounces them finds favor. Wow. God says several times throughout the word, confess, confess, confess. Because it is healing on the other side of confession. It is forgiveness. Confession is the pathway. Let me get my notes. Confession is the pathway for forgiveness, love, healing, spiritual growth, and your reconciliation with God. So all that to say this, it is bigger than your husband. It is bigger than your childhood trauma. The reasons why we got to be willing to confess. God understands the freedom that you get to live in when you can move through this world with transparency. And when I say transparency,
That's what happened when I had to go talk to the person at my job. Transparency is I'm being clear with you about something you didn't even know about at all. And I just came to you and said, you know what? I did this. It wasn't, honesty is different than transparency. Vulnerability, I think, takes both of them. So that was Proverbs 28:13.
Okay.
1 John 1:9
says,
if we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us of our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. So basically, this verse provides a promise of forgiveness and purification for those who admit their sins and confess them to God. Purification, cleansing. Because in reality of it is, if we ain't willing to confess it to you, we surely probably ain't willing to say it to God. To say, wow, you know what? I was wrong. I can't even do a human. Right. So am I going to open up my mouth and say it to God like I am wrong?
Right. No.
And so you holding all of that, y'all. It is unloving to try to live your life in perfection because it just sets up for all kind of stuff. When you don't want to admit, now I got to keep defending. I got to keep defending my mistake. I got to keep, y'all. And when you sit by yourself, that stuff is hard.
Right.
It's hard on you internally.
Do women talk about this? Have you ever had a conversation with your girls? I don't care what group of girls, co-workers, the Delta sisters, whatever, line sisters. Like, it's hard to admit y'all wrong, or this conversation, this topic, has this ever came up in a girl setting? I don't care if it's 2 of you or 8 men, a whole bunch of y'all. Have this
I can't say not in that way. Like, it's hard for me to admit when I'm wrong. Not like that. But it shows its face in a different way where you're doing something and then I call you on it to elevate you and you go into defending the why. It shows up. And I'm sure the other person was like, you just cannot admit when you're wrong. But a general conversation to talk about why it is challenging for us to admit we're wrong. And I went to, like I said, I will ask people when I'm doing a show if I want somebody else's perspective in addition to mine. And I went to some ladies at my job and I'm like, why do y'all think it's difficult for us to admit when we're wrong? And we done sat there and had about a 15-minute conversation.
What they say?
They said that being raised in a household where mama was always right.
And men have these conversations.
About yourself or about us?
About us.
About in what way?
Why do you do X, Y, Z? Or I can't help but do X, Y, Z. Why are we doing this? Why do you do this? We have these conversations.
Now we have conversations like that. But
I'm talking about this specific topic of admitting when you're wrong.
Y'all have conversations.
No, I'm saying men have a conversation about why are you cheating? Why do you cheat? Why are you going out so much? Why are you
being cheating?
Yes, like just whatever. Men have these conversations. And I asked you that question, do women, have you had this conversation? Because I honestly didn't believe y'all have.
Now, I don't think about this, but do we have conversations?
No, I'm speaking on this topic. I don't care about other topics.
But you used a different topic. You said when cheating. So what
I'm talking about men. I'm saying this is difficult for women. So therefore, I didn't believe you women are having these conversations. And I didn't think y'all did. Yeah. And I was curious to like, why women? Because women hear this. Y'all hear about women having a hard time admitting that they're wrong.
But I can't say I'm talking about my crew and but because I don't believe it's not I believe some group of women are having those conversations. It might not be with their friends, it might be at a workshop, it might be at a training, or it might be like I went to the women at my job to ask them their perspective. But it can be happening like that. I'm just saying in my community, the people that I've been kicking it with, in this intimate setting, no. But they also brought up the fact that when men say, go ask your mama, go ask your mama. So it unconsciously is embedding that mama is right, that mama has the answers, that when daddies constantly say, go ask mama, go ask. So this must be the truth. This must be what.
Wow,
so
it's come up with that just from that.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't even think about that.
I would have never came up with mama must be right if you saying okay.
Yeah, and so I was like, oh,
put that together, yeah.
And then another issue they said was like, to say that I'm wrong now, and it kind of led to, I don't want to do that because that's getting off, and that's about to give y'all an out as to why you don't keep admitting. Won't admit your mistakes, but I'll tell you off the show. Yeah, I don't want to give people like, yep, that's why I don't be doing it, because he ain't doing it, because it ain't about him today. It's about us being willing to stand in and admit. So let's talk about other verses about confession. James 5:16. Therefore, confess your sins to one another and pray for each other so that you may be healed. The prayer of the righteous person is powerful and effective. So, husbands are supposed to be the spiritual leaders in the house. So if I can be honest with my husband about my mistake, and it goes back to him saying about the safe space. If I can be honest with my mistake, whether he bringing it up or I'm just being on some transparency and I just want to come to him, as I confess to him, it supports me in healing. And then if he's a righteous man, if he is a spiritual leader of the house, he gonna say, I heard what my wife just said. And I'm about to take this and I'm going to cover this in prayer for her. I'm going to submit this to God on her. She admit the mistake of whatever. She forgot to do this, or how she responded to me. She disrespected me, or whatever it may be. Now I get to pray for her. And as he is praying and covering you, our prayers shift us. So he praying for me, so the next time that he make a mistake, he now has compassion for his own self, so he don't have to hold it all tight, and he can come and be like, dang, baby had the courage to do it, I'm gonna have the courage to do it. I know what I was praying for her, so I can pray the same thing for me. And his prayer is gonna cause him to respond to you differently. If he is holding and taking something to God,
right,
he is going to be responding to you differently, because he's holding you like you are the weaker vessel. He's holding you so lovingly that he cannot, if he's in alignment with his Holy Spirit, he can't keep coming to you hard and aggressive and this. Not if he being the spiritual leader of his house and he got a relationship with God. And even if he does, he gonna be convicted. And prayerfully, he has the strength to say, you know what, baby, I was da. So confess to one another. Acts 19:18. I'll let y'all read that on your own. So again, the power of transparency, because we are about to run out of time. I hope you have enjoyed this conversation, because I know I have. I enjoy just having deep conversations with my husband, and the couples lounge opens the door for that. But I want to let you know the power of transparency, and I'm telling you what I have lived. I'm telling you, I have been the wife that it has been challenging to admit. At one point, it wasn't no admitting. I just deal with it internally by myself and with God. I ain't telling him that. And I have had the privilege of evolving over the 23 years to I am now in a space where, okay, I was wrong, or I made that mistake, or even being able to agree with you, because I realized I see how he see it. I may not necessarily still feel like it was a mistake or wrong, but I see we are looking at this from two different lenses because we walk two different lives. So I can still honor what he sees, but still be able to say, well, babe, okay, I see it like you see it, but I see it differently without it having heat on it. Because in the past, it was, I'm about to argue for my point. I heard what you're saying, and let me argue. But it is, I'm just in a place in my life where I want to feel a certain way internally. And that is having peace. That's having love. And my word I told my baby for this year at my job is being in flow. And I just want to be in flow with what God is doing in my life. And in order for me to be in flow, I gotta just hold things differently. I gotta move differently. I gotta speak differently. I gotta accept. Being in flow is accepting the experiences God is allowing to come into my life and realizing I ain't gotta argue about nothing. I can state my opinion. I can give my feedback, but arguing is an option that I don't want to participate in. Yeah, we can disagree. Absolutely.
Right.
I just don't want to argue, and I'm not because of how it makes me feel internally. I just don't like it. So in transparency, I want you to understand this, lady. It has nothing to do with his approval or receiving absolution from anybody else. It has everything to do with rejecting deceit and bringing fear and guilt into your conscious awareness. Transparency, you being honest with your baby, is allowing you to bring the fear that you are carrying, the guilt that you are carrying, the shame that you are carrying, all to your conscious awareness, bringing it to the surface. And I'm going to add your deceit, because sometimes we out here being deceitful. It's bringing that all to the surface. Being transparent with him.
That's deep. That's deep.
Mm-hmm.
That's deep.
And scary. Because you are being scared of being judged. It is scary. But I will tell you what I had to keep telling myself when I was getting ready to have that conversation. Obedience over sacrifice. Whatever this person is going to think about me, I cannot worry about that. I have to be obedient to what God is telling me to do.
And that's why I just stopped talking about it. Because when you first brought it to me, I'm
thinking, like, why? He said uncalled for.
Totally uncalled for. You had an opinion about this dude because he said this. You ain't said nothing to nobody. You ain't did nothing to him. So why you gotta tell him what you? But if you like God put it on you to do it, who am I to argue with the man above? So let me just shut up.
Yeah.
Let me just shut, because I'm thinking, girl, now.
Yeah. It was like, yeah. So I had to judge. Yeah, I had to really get in a space of I can't worry about how he think about me. What his opinion is when he walk out. But I do get to hold it from a place of, for one, I'm being obedient. I don't know how this is freeing me. But see, I didn't even, when he first gave me this, I didn't even realize my husband is going to come to me with us needing a show like we have today. See, you don't know why God is doing anything that he is doing. So because me realizing I had to have this conversation with him happened before last week's Couples Lounge show. So it's just like, I can't worry about it.
Right.
But I hope, my prayer is that me being transparent with him gives him the ability to be transparent, and that we just keep the flow and the energy going like that, whether it's with his wife or with somebody at work, so that we can all get on this trajectory of getting free.
Right.
You know, so like I said earlier, when you justify your mistakes, it causes you to be in defense mode. It will cause you to defend, and that ain't gonna feel good to him. When you won't admit your mistakes too, for this woman, well, if I don't admit it, you just want him to be the only one looking bad in the relationship. I'm the good girl. He the bad one. That's your stuff. That is your stuff, and it is unloving to your husband to show up in your relationship like that. To constantly want to make him the bad one. And you're doing that because of your guilt, because of your shame, because of your fear, and the stuff that you were carrying. I'm gonna make him wrong to make myself. You know, that's a saying. Whoa. Like you do to people so that you I'm gonna make you feel bad so that I can feel good. You ain't gotta turn somebody else down to make yourself feel good, but people do it all the time because of the stuff that they carrying.
Right.
That's why we gotta be willing to do the work. We gotta be willing to heal, because of who you are impacts other people. Period. The stuff you carry impacts other people, because we are all one. We're all one. So
good man, good stuff. I almost cussed. Good stuff.
So I'm gonna wrap this up with a somebody should have told me. And okay. I typed this out because I wanted to be real clear, women. Because our husbands need us. Because of our position as a helpmate. We don't want to do things that will hinder the call that is on our life for him. So this is my somebody should have told me moment. Your confession is for you to be a better person, for you to grow, for you to heal. Your confession is what pleases God. Your confession releases you from living in the faulty, unloving space of always feeling a need to be right. That's exhausting. And I'm not telling you what I think, I'm telling you what I know. Because of me. I already knew this show was going to be about me being, I guess this is space God is calling me in right now, for me to be transparent and to give up this thought of, I gotta be right, or it gotta look like this, or I guess this just space I'm in, and I receive it because I know. Oh, let me stay focused. Your confession allows for your husband to cover you in prayer and you to be an example and a witness. There is no mistake that cannot be corrected. There is no trespass that cannot be forgiven. Period. And it ain't, even if man doesn't give it to you, God is going to forgive you. God is going to love you. God is going to continue to correct you because of the assignment that he has upon your life. So let's do better, ladies. It's okay. So I'm going to give y'all a hard work assignment for the next week. This is your hard work assignment. I want you to confess, be transparent with your husband. If you don't have a husband, with your boyfriend. If you don't have a boyfriend, you find somebody that you can intentionally confess any mistakes that you did. Even if it is, baby, today I was speeding. I was breaking, because you breaking the law. You breaking a rule. And we break rules and laws in our marriage. I was speeding today. I was texting while I was driving. I went off on somebody today. And a lot of times we are confessing those things, but we're not confessing them from a place of growth. I'm just venting. I'm just releasing. I'm getting it out. So you are still confessing. Right. You are. But a lot of times it's about other people. And then once you get that Monday, and let me see, you're going to start today. So by Monday, I should be able to confess to you, baby, I realized I did this. I want you to go deeper. as the week go on, you go deeper and start confessing to him some stuff that he's been pointing out to you that you ain't been willing to acknowledge to him. Go on and confess on this week and ask him to pray for you. What's your somebody should have told you to the ladies?
Fellas, give her a safe place to do it.
Oh, you can talk to me.
Yeah. Give her a safe place to do it. Give her a safe place and don't relive it over and over and over again. Allow her to do all of these things without judgment. Period.
And we out. We hope y'all enjoyed the show. If you heard something today that you like, please, you can comment. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share it on your platform. So just hit share and send it on Facebook, Instagram, in text message, because we got to be intentional, and we are intentional about saving and building up the kingdom marriages. So y'all stay tuned. More to come next week. We love y'all for real. We love y'all for life. We out. Peace. Now I gotta stop it.